Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we've set number 71361, which is the full Super Mario blind bag series. I don't know what it's really officially called, but maybe Character Pack Series 1, possibly, is the official name. I don't know. You can look it up on Shop at Home if you really want to know exactly what LEGO calls it for some reason. But it does come in the regular CMF packs, so it is basically the same thing. There are only 10 different ones to collect this time, and the boxes of them, they come in boxes of 20 instead of boxes of 60, which does mean that, you know, if you're not the first one to get to a box, it will be hard to guarantee that you'll be able to get a full set, because there's only 2 of every character from the series. So, you know, if someone came before you and grabbed some random packs, there's a good chance they could just take the last, or the 2 of one characters that you won't be able to find that character at all. But, you know, there are 10 characters, which is a little bit small, but it is, you know, brick-built characters and not many figures, so it is a little bit different. And the interesting thing here is that every character has their own leaflet, because their leaflets are the instructions. Fortunately, they include the instructions, you know, in person. You don't have to, like, download the app and, you know, wait for them to officially release a set to be able to build them. But, you know, we do have 10 characters here. We got Bullet Bill, we got Pipa, we got Buzzy Beetle, we got Urchin, we got Spiny, we got the Paragoomba, Baubom, Urchin, Blooper, and Fuzzy. And, you know, all of the backs look like this. They do all have a checklist. It's just not really designed to be a checklist, and is more of the instruction leaflet. But, yeah, there's 10 figures. Let's take a look at each one and, you know, see what the series is like. First up here we have Bullet Bill, which is, at least to me, one of the more recognizable characters in the series. Though I haven't played too many different Mario games, played a lot of Mario Kart, but that's probably why I recognize Bullet Bill. But, you know, the actual build here is kind of cool, and this is one of the most different out of all of the characters here. Like, you know, there's nothing really similar to this in any of the sets except for the Boomer Bills, which are a lot bigger and a lot different of a build. But I actually really kind of like the way that this comes together. I don't have Mario, so I can't show you how it interacts with the tiles, but Bullet Bill, you can remove him from his little stand there, just like that. He does have this tile, which Mario can scan, and, you know, it will do something. I think he just gets coins from it, but, you know, it's, you know, if you wanted to replace that with a black tile, you know, this would look like a normal Bullet Bill without anything Super Mario-y, and I think that the overall build for this is pretty cool. I like the printing on that piece, and I think that piece is appropriate. It does have these white arms, which you can move up and down. They're just on Technic pins. We've seen those before, but on white. That is a new color for them. And he can hold minifigure accessories in his hands if he wanted to. The base here is actually kind of neat. I do like the built-up cactus. All of the Super Mario minifigures here in this series do get different base builds to kind of create a different environment for each of them, and you can use these with, you know, the other standard Mario stuff. You can connect these to your courses. They're built on the same 4x4 round plate, which is interesting, and, you know, it looks pretty good. And I do like the way that this cactus is built up. I think that is a good looking thing and makes a nice little background. I forgot I was going to mention the part count with each of them. Bullet Bill had 25 pieces. Pipa here has 21, which is a little bit less, but, you know, basically the same volume of stuff in each of them. And they do all kind of range between 16 and 27, so there's only like a 10-part range there. But Pipa's base actually looks kind of cool. I like what they've done with this little lava flow. I think that the combination of colors is pretty good, and the way that they build that is kind of interesting, because it just uses one of these arch bricks to cover that up instead of, you know, just building plates around it. And, you know, it's pretty effective. Looks pretty good. Like the bricks. Yeah, base is pretty neat. Pipa is built around a 2x3 brick. Uses one of these 3x3 round tiles, which is interesting. I think that's the first time I've gotten this piece. I know it was introduced with the Minion set, which I'll be getting eventually, but you know, it's a good print. Mine, maybe the mouth is off center on mine, but I don't know if that's just how it's supposed to be. I can't tell. And you do have a 2x2 round tile on the back with the pre-applied sticker. If you aren't familiar with Mario, all of the stickers that interact with, I think that Mario can scan, they're all stickers, but they're all factory applied, so you don't need to do any of that yourself. So, you know, it's a good looking thing. I'm not very familiar with the source material for Pipa at all, so I guess I cannot comment really on the accuracy to source material, but it's a good looking build, and it will be nice to add on to your little Mario stuff. And the base for this one just kind of helps the little Pipa ghost to kind of pop a little bit more. And next we have Buzzy Beetle, who I'm not super familiar with, but it is another thing from Mario games. So I mean, I don't know much more about it than that. This actually has the lowest part count in the series, and it's probably the simplest one. It does have one of these cool shell pieces, which is neat, and that is an exclusive color for it. It's got the tile printed on there, which Mario can scan and jump on, and you can remove those if you're unfamiliar with how this part works by just sticking a bar through the center. The build for him underneath is really simple. It's very similar to Spiny's build, who we'll see in a minute, but he's got that printed 1x2 cheese slope there, as well as the printed feet. It looks fine. I mean, got no real complaints. And his base, though, is a little bit simple and kind of boring. It's like I don't know, maybe black cloud. It almost feels like this is the base that Blooper should have had to represent the ink, but it is what it is, and it's fine. I mean, this is not my favorite in the series. I don't really recognize the character at all, but it exists, and it does have a couple of exclusive color pieces in that shell, and believe the legs, I think, are used for someone else. Actually, I think Spiny has the same legs too, so I guess just shell. Next up we have Urchin, who has 27 pieces, and honestly, I'm unsure whether or not I'm familiar with this character. I've definitely seen things that look like it, but I don't know if they're all exactly the same. I'm not sure, but this one is bright and colorful. I really like the vibrant coral flowers. I don't know if that piece is brand new. I think it is, unless it was introduced in dots around the same time. But it is a really cool color for that part. And we get a couple in there as well as an extra. The base has this little spout of water, which uses one of those splat gear pieces in Medium Azure, which is not a new color for that, because I think that might have been the first color it was introduced in. But it also has a jumper up here for you to place Urchin on, and yeah, Urchin is pretty good looking. I like the spike pieces, which those are new as well, and do have, I like the little Urchin mouth, which they reuse on Eep Cheap and the Cheep Cheeps in the regular sets, and the printed tile for the eyes is just a cute expression, and I don't know, this looks pretty good, and you do have on the back a tile for Mario to interact with. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the most recognizable thing for me, but I do think that it's a pretty cute little build. And next up we have Spiny, and Spiny looks pretty good. I think I like this one quite a bit better than Buzzy Beetle. I'm not super familiar with Spiny's from the Mario games at all, but he does have that printed cheese slope, which looks pretty good. And I like that this shell actually has these spikes molded in there. They're not like printed or anything. They are three-dimensional, and it's cool. You got the tile in there, which you can remove the same way that you can do with Spiny, and he does have the printed feet there, which these are two of the feet pieces that are used for Goombas, and he's got these two trees in the background, which those look very much like Mario trees, and very much fits the style of the Mario sets. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like it's pretty simple, but with the Spiny and Buzzy characters, like they take up like 3/4 of the base on their own, so you can't really fit too much in the background. But I think that this is a much more interesting visually background than Buzzy Beetle's. Spiny is also on the lower part count side with only 20 pieces, but that kind of makes sense because he does have the big shell. And next up we have the Paragoomba with a total of 24 pieces, and this is probably one of the less interesting ones, as Goombas do appear in the regular sets. I believe that this facial expression is exclusive to this particular variant of the Goomba, but it's pretty similar to some of the other ones. He does have a sticker piece, which I think is a exclusively Paragoomba one. I think it does something slightly different than the regular Goombas. But his base is kind of neat. I like the cloud floating over the pyramid. kind of look here that it's got. This 1x2 kind of pyramid slope thing on the top is actually new in tan, which is neat. And I like how they use the panels to kind of elevate them up to kind of give them a little bit of a flying look, which is appropriate. And the cloud piece here is taken from the Unikitty series and looks pretty good. And as far as the Paragoomba goes, he's pretty much identical to the regular Goombas, except he has two clips on the back that allow him to clip on these wings, which these wings actually are a really cool new part for the Mario theme. I don't know, just look pretty appropriate for what this is. He also has the feet there, which is a slightly interesting piece. Obviously used for the regular Goombas as well, but it is nice to get them again here. Next up we have the Baubom, which actually has nothing exclusive to it. It did for a very short time have these little half dome sort of half cylindrical pieces that are 1x1 in lime. Those were exclusive to this head until Diagon Alley was revealed a couple of months later. So, you know, not anymore. The Baubom character built exactly this way, exactly the same, which is really good. I do like the way that this looks, and it is classic, and it's nice that there's a good way to get this relatively cheap. You know, because it does also appear in the $50 Guarded Fortress set, but you know, this looks really good, really nice. I like this one a lot. It's just a shame that it's not exclusive at all. And you know, the set has these 1x2 kind of half curved slope things in lime, which only otherwise appear in Yoshi in the Mario Mario's House set. Yeah. But yeah, this one's fine. It's recognizable, and I'm glad that it's available cheap, because I was not going to buy the Garden Fortress. But you know, it's just nothing super duper mind blowing. Maybe it would have been nice to get some sort of exclusive recolor of some part. And next up we have the Eep Cheap, and the Cheap Cheeps do appear in one of the regular sets. I believe it's the Toad's Treasure Hunt one, which I think is $70. And those are obviously the red and yellow ones, which are more recognizable to me, at least. But this one is still cool to get, especially when it's only $5. It does have the wing pieces, which are also used for the Paragoomba and the regular Cheap Cheeps, but otherwise they're still relatively uncommon. I like the watery base here. You know, it looks pretty appropriate. He's elevated using those clear panels. And yeah, I mean, these 1x2 bricks with the clip in bright light orange, those are exclusive so far to this set. And he does have the really nice eye print, which is very similar to Urchin's, but you know, it looks good. And it obviously is on a different color, and the eyes are a different color, and they're actually a different shape too. They just, you know, feel graphically similar, which is just a good thing. It uses the same mouth build as well, but I think that is pretty clever and pretty appropriate, and you just have this pre-applied sticker on the back to allow him to interact with Mario. But yeah, that's a pretty good one. It's got a relatively moderate parts count as far as these guys go, with a total of 26 pieces, which not too shabby. For me, at least, Blooper is a pretty recognizable character as well, and I think that he's pretty well executed here. You know, got a pretty neat base with one of these vibrant coral pieces, which is pretty cool. It's not a new color for that, I believe. I believe they were in friend sets, but it is a pretty good looking part, and it's very vibrant and striking in person. It doesn't quite come across on video for some reason or another, but it is a lot brighter in my actual hands here. And the Blooper character is built, you know, vertically this way. He's got the tile in the back for Mario to interact with. I like how they've done the shaping around his head, and the printing on that curved slope is pretty nice as well. Maybe it would have been nice if these studs weren't there, but you know, they do make it Lego, so it doesn't bother me. I mean, I guess like the bottom half with the tentacles is a little bit off, but you know, it's probably the best that they could do at this small scale, and I think that it comes across pretty well. And you kind of need to have the space on the bottom to allow him to actually stand up there. So, you know, pretty decently executed, I think. Probably my second favorite after the Bullet Bill. And last up we have Fuzzy, who is probably, to me at least, the most obscure of all of these characters, because I don't know, it just does not look super familiar to me. Or maybe I do know what it is and it's really badly executed, but I can't even think of anything from Mario that is pretty similar to what this is. But as an actual figure here, it's kind of neat, kind of funny. I like the face print there. I don't know, just looks pretty goofy. It looks pretty good. These pyramid pieces in black are actually exclusive so far to the set, which I was kind of surprised by, but that's a pretty cool recolor to get here. And, you know, the little scenery is fine. It's a little plain on this side, but that's because it actually has a little bit of an action feature, where you're supposed to knock him down like that and then stomp on him to get your coins. So that's kind of neat. I guess it's nice that they were able to work some sort of feature into at least one of these. I think this is really the only one that has an action feature, though, so I guess that's kind of neat. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty decent figure, I guess. You know, nothing super mind-blowing. This one does have the largest part count at 29. Overall, I mean, I think that this is a pretty strong series. Or at least for the first series of these brick-built character minifigures to come after Unikitty. I think that this is a whole lot more diverse and varied series. There's a lot more going on here. You're not just getting kitties, and you can actually, you know, you can actually feel them apart, which is a good thing. It's a little bit more challenging than with regular minifigures because you have to remember what molds are exclusive to what characters, but still, it's possible, and I think that, you know, at least being possible is better than not being possible. You know, $5 each, I think, is actually relatively reasonable with these. I mean, you get the exclusive characters who basically the equivalent of minifigures. Maybe they're less exclusive, but, you know, I do think that the overall, you know, size is, you know, polybag worthy, and I think that the variety of the bases that you get, and, you know, actually having a little bit more to build up than a minifigure, I think helps to justify the price a little bit. As far as my favorites here, I mean, my favorites probably are going to lean towards the more recognizable ones, so Bullet Bill, Blooper, and the Baubom, probably. With Spiny probably coming in close behind. And the ones that I don't really care for are like Buzzy Beetle and honestly, Buzzy Beetle's probably my least favorite. And then Fuzzy and Urchin are probably down there, even though they're, like, aside from Buzzy Beetle, I think that all of these are pretty visually interesting. He's just kind of the lame one, and maybe I'm just hating on Buzzy Beetle because I don't know who he is. But yeah, it's a decently varied part selection too, and I mean, I just don't really have too much to complain about with these. You know, $5 each for the whole series. It's $50. I think that, you know, when you add it up like that, is this really worth the same as a $50 set? Maybe not, but still, if you are a fan of Mario and the character building system that they've developed there, I think that you'll probably enjoy this. And, you know, having the interactivity with the app, I think, or with not the app, but with the actual Mario figure, I think is probably pretty adds a little bit of value. But yeah, overall, I'm decently happy with this, especially compared to the Unikitty series. And if they do a series 2, I'll probably buy that too. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.